I think the next couple of months, had Roman Reigns not gotten injured and had he still been here, would have been used to develop the character, because I think one of the biggest concerns as of last month after his win over Randy Orton at the SummerSlam pay-per-view was that he was not ready for that spot at the main event of WrestleMania, which, it's nothing set in stone, of course, but that's what was heavily rumored and speculated amongst fans. I think he wasn't ready for that spot as of a month ago. I didn't think he was ready when he got injured a couple of days ago, but that being said, I thought the next couple of months when he could have been around in feuds with Rollins, Orton, Triple H even, I'll get to that in a minute too, I think these next couple of months could have served as a development period for Roman Reigns for both his mic skills and in-ring skills. And with the time that he's going to be off due to injury, I think that might hinder Roman Reigns in the long term. I know he's going to get a big pop whenever he comes back, whether it be at the beginning of January, end of December, Royal Rumble, whenever it may be. The people are going to love him regardless. It wasn't the popularity thing that really had me concerned. It's more the fact that his in-ring skills and mic skills weren't really at the level that they should have been to contend for that WWE World Heavyweight title. So I ask you this, Jacob. Do you think he'll be ready for the main event of WrestleMania by the time he gets back?
Well, in my opinion, as far as what I've looked for in main eventers and high-caliber players, I don't think any of the three members of the Shield are ready for a main event spot. So I don't think that Roman Reigns will be ready, even if it is 3 to 4 months when he comes back. All three of those guys are great where they are. Excuse me. And, I don't think any of them are ready, so I'm going to say no.
So with that being said, too, Seth Rollins, with him being the current Mr. Money in the Bank, I never saw him cashing in at any point within the next couple of months before the end of the year. I think had Roman Reigns stuck around, I'll get to that in a second, whether he will be contending for the title at WrestleMania. That's my biggest concern. Maybe I'm just jumping the gun here. But Seth Rollins, I didn't see going after that WWE World Heavyweight title, cashing in the Money in the Bank successfully until after WrestleMania next year. So I think he, too, could be ready by WrestleMania. Same thing with Dean Ambrose. I think he's improving at a rapid pace. I don't think officials ever expected him to get over as much as he did, as over as he is right now. But that being said, I mentioned this before, and I really wanted to talk about this. This was a feud that was first kind of teased the night after WrestleMania this year, when Daniel Bryan won the WWE World Heavyweight title. The Shield came to Daniel Bryan's safety. They came to his aid in fending off Evolution, triggering that feud for the next couple of months. It was first teased on that show the night after WrestleMania, a potential feud between Triple H and Roman Reigns. Now, it was reported shortly thereafter that we might be getting that matchup at SummerSlam. Of course, that did not come to fruition. Officials were hoping to do the matchup at Night of Champions. I'm glad that didn't happen either, considering the fact I think Triple H versus Roman Reigns, if done properly, could be a marquee matchup for any pay-per-view, for a big-time pay-per-view specifically. I would personally love to see at a SummerSlam or a Royal Rumble or a Survivor Series. And that's the thing, too. They also teased it the night after the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. They went with Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton instead at at SummerSlam, than with Rollins and Reigns at Night of Champions. So they never really got around to doing Triple H versus Roman Reigns. Now, I ask you this, Jacob. Do you think they'll do that matchup when Roman Reigns gets back? Do you think it's a matchup that we could see at the Royal Rumble, or maybe even at WrestleMania if Reigns isn't ready to contend for the World Heavyweight title? What are your thoughts?
I don't believe that. For me personally, as a wrestling fan, the idea of Triple H versus Roman Reigns really doesn't do much to excite me as a wrestling fan. I can understand how it would make sense, because say what you will, Triple H is the top heel of that company, whether he's an active wrestler or not. Because when you have anybody in that position of power, ever since, going back to the Attitude Era and the Mr. McMahon days, anybody who's in a position of power on television is automatically going to be the top heel. There's nothing you can do about it. Just, people don't like authority and like to see the authority upended. It's just, I would not be excited to see it, but I can understand how some wrestling fans would be. I would be more excited for a triple threat match for the briefcase between the three members of the Shield, because I honestly don't see Seth Rollins cashing that thing in ever for a title win. But if they wanted to set up Roman Reigns or somebody like that, Roman Reigns with the briefcase would really be exciting television, considering, you're not going to lock Roman Reigns in a broom closet. So it'd be interesting television to see Roman Reigns with the briefcase as opposed to Seth Rollins.
I think Roman Reigns, I don't think he necessarily needs that briefcase, as I think that regardless of whether the injury happened or not, I think he's a big candidate as of right now to win that Royal Rumble matchup. So I could see him winning that Royal Rumble contest and getting that title shot as opposed to someone like a Dean Ambrose or a Seth Rollins. Anything can happen, but you mentioned a triple threat match over the briefcase. I think at some point, like you said, I don't think any one of these three guys are ready to contend for the world title right now, but I think it's a matchup that you could do down the line, whether it be at WrestleMania or SummerSlam next year. Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight title. I don't know how soon they could do that matchup. Obviously not right now, but maybe a little down the line, it could serve as a marquee matchup for the WWE World Heavyweight title. But that being said, though, it's going to be really interesting to see how Roman Reigns, when he comes back, and how it affects WrestleMania. So as of right now, do you see Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, that rumored matchup, being in jeopardy, or do you see them changing plans?
I don't see. I see the match. The match is obviously in the bank for it to ever happen if it needs to happen, but I don't see Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar in the next year. So that's just my opinion.